him out.
He couldn't have gone far.
We lost Echo. Fuck.
Shut up. Stay frosty.
Jackson, I told you this day would come.
When it comes to creating cinematic images, there's a lot of ways you can achieve that look. But one of the cheat codes to make just about anything look cinematic is to shoot it using an anamorphic lens. These are the Sirui Venus full-frame 1.6x anamorphic lenses. So far in this set, there's 5 focal lengths available: 35mm, 50mm, 75mm, 100mm, and 150mm. And today, we're gonna look at what are anamorphic lenses, what kind of images can these lenses produce, and what I think of them. And disclaimer here, this video is not sponsored by Sirui, but they did send me these lenses to review. But as always, like any other video on this channel, these are gonna be my opinions on what I think of these products, and the main purpose of these videos is to provide entertainment value to you, as well as arm you with camera gear knowledge so you can know better on what kind of gear to get to achieve the look you want. Let's quickly cover what are anamorphic lenses. Long story short, these lenses are designed to squeeze an optical image horizontally, and with these lenses, they squeeze the image by 1.6 times. This is the same technique that's been used in Hollywood since the 1950s. And that's why I say that anamorphic lenses are a cheat code to get cinematic footage. We see things as cinematic when it looks like a movie, and movies often use anamorphic lenses and widescreen aspect ratios, so when you use these lenses, everything you film, from something that feels narratively inspired to literally a video of a cat, it begins to look cinematic, because off the bat it shares similar qualities to a movie. And there are more specific qualities and byproducts of an anamorphic lens that add to this cinematic feeling, but we'll talk about those more in the image quality section of this video. When I got these lenses, the first thing I did was hit up my talented actor friend Ryan to shoot some scenes for his portfolio. Really, I just wanted any excuse possible to shoot something cool with these lenses. We shot 6 different scenes, and every single one of them felt more grand thanks to these lenses. That wide aspect ratio can show so much of the surrounding location and set that it makes the world feel bigger. The anamorphic lens qualities like the horizontal lens flares bring a different vibe to the shots. The vertical bokeh in the background adds another level of uniqueness. The overall image rendition coming from these lenses are sharp enough while still showing a lot of character to give the final shots a level of panache that clinically sharp photography lenses just lack. Now, let's take a closer look at these lenses. The Sirui Venus set of anamorphic lenses are hefty lenses with an all-metal construction that covers full-frame sensors. They weigh between 2 to 3 pounds depending on which lens you're using, so you're definitely not going to have a lightweight setup once you've rigged it up with the proper follow focus, which you'll want to make focusing on the fly easier. In my case, I hooked it up to the DJI Focus Pro so I can turn these manual focus lenses into autofocus, which I have to say again, the DJI Focus Pro may be one of the coolest products added to my kit of all time. If you haven't seen my video on it yet, I highly recommend you check it out if you're interested in using cine lenses in your workflow. But yeah, this setup isn't what I'd call lightweight. Like any good cine lenses, the focus and iris rings feature geared teeth so you can use follow focus systems, and they're aligned across each lens in the set to minimize downtime when switching between lenses in the middle of a shoot. There are also distance markers for focusing on the lens with imperial units on one side and metric on the other. And if you plan to mount any accessories like matte boxes or filters on these lenses, they also come with a standard 82mm front filter thread that's shared across all of the lenses in this set. Alright, now for the fun part, image quality. Starting off with some sharpness tests, across all 3 lenses, center sharpness is pretty good, even wide open at T2.9. I wasn't expecting much out of the edge-to-edge sharpness, but honestly it performed quite well, which is fantastic since when you have such a wide field of view, you're going to want to place subjects off to the sides of the frame for more interesting compositions. Bokeh also looks incredible. My favorite byproduct of an anamorphic lens is the tall oval bokeh because it just looks so unique and different to images you get from aspherical lenses. And it's not even just the bokeh balls, but just how the out of focus elements are rendered standard in general. It makes focus racks look so much more interesting. Lens flares are another really fun byproduct of anamorphic lenses. Whether or not you like it is obviously going to be heavily dependent on your preferences. Some are going to love how intense these blue streaks are, and some are going to wish it was an amber flare or neutral flare or even no horizontal flare at all. But if it suits the project you're shooting, it can add yet another layer of visual interest that is pretty unique to filming with anamorphic glass. While I have a lot of love for the images these lenses produce, there are also some shortcomings that we should talk about. Starting off with distortion, you'll see that on the wider 35mm, we see some pretty noticeable barrel distortion. On top of that, the 75mm shows a decent amount of pincushion distortion as well. However, the 50mm seems to handle distortion the best with a minor amount of barrel distortion. Close focus is also a bit lacking, with the best performance coming from the 75mm with a 1:15 maximum magnification ratio. I guess I've just been kind of spoiled lately with the Nisi Athena primes and Laowa lenses in general because they have much closer focusability. This isn't a huge negative, but if you're the type of person that likes to put your lenses really close up to your subject to kind of get that vibe, then you're not going to be able to really do that with these lenses. I guess unless you have some like diopters, but like I don't own any good diopters. If you guys know about any sets of good optical diopters, like let me know in the comment section down below because I'm like super interested in finding those. All right, and the last shortcoming of these lenses I want to talk about is going to be the inconsistent image rendering between the lenses in this set. I noticed that again, the 50mm lens seems to have been the most accurate when it came to white balance and producing a neutral image, whereas the 75mm looked a tad warm to my eyes and the 35mm looked significantly warmer than expected. For reference, the camera and the light were both set to 5600 Kelvin for these test chart shots. This isn't a huge issue if you're only shooting with one or two of these lenses since you can compensate in camera or while editing, but if you plan on using a full set of these lenses in your productions, that's when you're going to start running into issues because you're either going to have to spend a lot of time on set, on location, correcting these issues in camera, or put additional resources into correcting it in post after you're done shooting. I'll talk more on this in a second, but first let's take a look at the price. These lenses retail for about $1,500, but at the time of this recording, all of them are on sale for about $1,100. These days, we're pretty spoiled as filmmakers because tools like anamorphic lenses are actually something that's accessible at a reasonable price point. These are priced about the same as a really nice photography lens, and for that reason, I think if you just want to pick up one or two of these anamorphic lenses for some specific types of projects you want to work on, I think they're super worth it. But if you plan on adopting that anamorphic style as a mainstay in your filmmaking toolkit, then it makes it a little bit harder to recommend this full set of lenses due to that inconsistent image quality issue I told you about earlier. For me, anamorphic lenses like these would go so hard for narrative projects like short films or music videos, or even for like commercial content. And honestly, actually, this would look so good to shoot a car video with. If you're interested in checking out these lenses, links will be in the description down below. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button because there's gonna be so much more content like this coming soon. Let me know in the comment section down below on what you guys think of the anamorphic shots I got for this video. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.